You know, sometimes when you look at a car, you fall in love with it just from the way it looks, the way it, performs, the way it drives. Other times you look at a car and there's nostalgia. There's something about the ID Buzz that a lot of people have really started to come to and see and think about reasons why they would want to have an ID Buzz over any other EV out there. Now, the ID Buzz, of course, is basically the electric version of the original Volkswagen Bus, which we know sold in droves back in the 60s and even into the early 80s. But ever since then, the Buzz has actually turned into something that a lot of people are just wondering, is this the next EV revolution? Well, let's look at it today and talk about why this particular vehicle is one of those that I may not purchase myself, but I think many people will actually think about. Just checking out the ID Buzz, you have your IQ lights that are standard across the board. They're all projector LEDs. You also have that beautiful daytime running lamp that looks like eyes, of course, with the illuminated front VW badge. You also have your front-facing cameras. You have your sensors here and cameras for your real-time driver assistance, which is one of the best things around travel assist. The front grille from this angle, to me, just has a very unique look to it. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's gonna like it, I get it. But I personally think it's a unique style. The iconic wheel covers, I think these are just spot on. If they had did any other wheel, I think it would have been a bad idea. But in this scenario, they did a really good job here. Now, this is where I think some of the controversy comes in, is you have this A-pillar window here, which is almost the size of some cars' rear window. It's that big. Does it give you good visibility or does it not? Kind of hard to tell. We're gonna see in just a few minutes. Then look at the mirror caps here. You got your surround view cameras as well, turn signals indicators built into them. You have the ability to lock and unlock your front doors using the KESI system. So tap one time to lock, put your finger inside to unlock. The rear doors are powered. You just kind of pull that and it opens up. And inside you see this beautiful cavernous area. And look inside of this guy. You've got plenty of room back here. Unfortunately, I can't go to the back seat, which I know for a fact will fit me fine. We've seen 6'4", 6'5" guys back there without any issues. But look at all the room that you have here. Look at all the space that's available. And this is in its straight up forward position. I believe there's the rear either tunnel cover that's back here that's kind of in that box. Not sure what that is. We can kind of look at it in a second. Of course, you got your inside when we step up in. You have your map lighting. You got your controls for your AC unit. I don't think everybody mentioned this before, but there's AC controls over here on the right side, and there's AC controls on the left side. So each person has the ability to control their vents. Here's the button that will close the door. Now here's the unique thing about this. When it closes, you'll see that there is plenty of room back here once again. Nice padded armrests, hard plastic up here. Not a big fan of that. Heated seats. Also, you have your window controls. We can't do anything right now. USB-C port here. Biggest thing to be worried about is if you have it plugged up and you open up that door, it might snatch your phone out your hand. So you gotta be careful when you do that. Little cubby hole down here, good for like a bottle in the middle. Rear map pockets. Also the special pockets on both passenger and the driver seats. You have your armrests that are adjustable for both driver and passenger up front. And overall, just a really nice vehicle inside. Even the seats are very comfortable. You have some nice ID Buzz, little hidden gems right here when you get those Buzz logos everywhere. Back here in the back, you got, this is the first edition, so you have that first, the IQ lights here in the rear. And then probably the largest rear lift gate I think I've ever seen on any kind of powered car. So you almost have to step back a little bit, but a huge lift gate. Rear seats back here, plenty of room for the third row. And then on top of that, you've got your additional USB charging ports back here, cup holders, more of the soft padded, couple more ID Buzz logos. You have your 12-volt adapter back here, as well as a bag hook. You have your low floor riser that you can take out. Your floor mats that are standard across the board. You got them down here, charger as well. And of course you can remove the third row seat. You can remove that unit out of here. And now you actually have a huge cavernous area that you can store a 65 to 75 inch TV standing straight up inside here if you wanted to. Then the mid row is a full bench seat, so it'll fold down 60-40. You can get optional captain's chairs as well. So right here on the front door, when we start looking at it, once again, hard plastic up here. I'm not a big fan of that. Soft touch on the door pad, which is where people will put their arms, but others do like to rest their arms up here, including myself. And then of course you go back to the ID Buzz, 2 windows, rear. Now in this particular vehicle, I almost feel like it's not that much of a deal because the rear windows are probably going to be used very little in this particular van. And then of course, storage pocket here, storage pocket and map pockets down below. You have your 14-way or 12-way power driver seat with the built-in memory and lumbar massage. And you have your ID Buzz logo down here. Are there any other ID Buzz logos anywhere? I don't see anything else that stands out just yet, but I believe there's a few more hidden up front. So just like all the other Volkswagens, whenever you get into a Volkswagen, ID Buzz, ID4, when you sit down in it, the car turns on. Already I see that this is like a massive change when it comes to just how you would view everything. Air conditioning's coming on. We're going to turn this fan down. This is something that some people will say, how do you navigate things around? Well, you got to get used to it, to be honest. Oh, it's not on all the way. All right, now we're on. So you can now see there's the light through. We'll look at that side. And if I close it, it closes back. Very easy to do. Standard mirror doesn't have any features in here, which is a little bit disappointing, but understandable. But it should standard come with a HomeLink mirror and have at least the waterfall design. We'll get that adjusted for myself. Right here, of course, you have a nice large 14-inch screen, 14-inch display, excuse me. And then you have the traditional ID4 minor screen as well that we're used to seeing from the ID4. And this, of course, does show your standard thing that you would normally like to see. Occupancy, you can see that it senses things in the seats, but it's, of course, nothing back there. But the other, seats are folded down and so on. Over here, you got your audio lighting controls over on this side. The same ID4 steering wheel that I'm used to in the past, but the buttons have been changed a little bit. So now we have your controls over here for voice, heated steering wheel, and your views to control what you see inside this screen. You can still, of course, adjust and swipe to the side to see more information on the left or more information on the right, or keep it in the center, which where most people will keep that. Stock here on the left is all your Windows controls. I'm sorry. The stock here on the left is where all your lighting controls are at, including your controls for your wipers. And of course, the stock on the right, it's going to be your shifter. And you can see it right there. This is, of course, the new system, the new operating system that they've put into the new vehicles, which I will 100% say is well worth it. And I'm glad they did it. You have everything here from your different sections, your ambient lighting. You have pretty much a lot of the same features that you will see in the ID4 are still here in the Buzz. You have your vehicle settings where I can change things around the vehicles, interior, exterior lightings, and easy opening, closing features around that side. And of course, you could go into your main status that talks about your miles, your service window, your tire settings. Then I can go into some of the data around, charging, what's the range that I've been getting on average, short-term, long-term, and since I last charged. And then I can go in to see my charging itself to see where am I at expected to get. I'm showing 250 miles at 95%. So, all right, so it knows, the smart thing about the Buzz is it does know that there is only one occupant inside the car. So it automatically adjusted to a smart temperature to adjust most of the air you can see here over to the driver's side and not really use anything on the passenger side, which is actually intelligent. And then on top of that, you actually have the ability to do some other things like max AC if I want to turn everything on completely on its highest level. And you'll hear the wind and the fan is kicking up a lot faster. I'm gonna turn that off. Navigation, we go into the navigation window, very similar to what you would see on the Audi 4. Give you that same functionality that you would have before in the previous Audi 4. There's a 3D version now, and you can actually turn the 3D modeling on. But you also can just tap here to find nearest charging stations. And it's going to tell you who's got what. You can also sort these and filter those charging stations by faster charging, 100 kilowatts or better. If I want to prefer Electrify America, Electrify Canada, I can turn that on. And then it'll show me now all Electrify Americas within the area. And unfortunately in Greenville, we only got one, which makes no sense. You got to fix that, Electrify America. There is a quick screen that you can drag down and you can adjust brightness if you want a dark mode or if you want the bright mode. Dark mode to me looks the best. Phone menu, music menu. You can still have the sliders here for your volume that you can adjust. Still have the sliders here for your climate control. Because of this angle on this lip here, I think it's a lot easier for you to navigate around, which makes it a little bit easier. Radio stations, we're going to get back off of that. And I'm sorry, go back here to the main home screen. And then, of course, we've got everything else from your Apple CarPlay with App Connect, as well as Android Auto, or your safety assist. You can turn on and off there. You also have your parking menu, and it does have a parking aid. And then the nice thing about this is around the seating here, you see that you've got a cubby hole here for storage. You've got a place right here for your phone charging, as well as 2 more USB-C ports. There's another little small cubby over here for maybe some change. There is your cup holders down here at the bottom. And of course your controls for your doors, so I can easily power open and close those doors up fairly easily. And of course you got your center armrest that's adjustable, and everyone likes to showcase these guys here, which one is the ice scraper and the other one is a bottle opener. And of course this whole tray does come out, and it does have the ability to be moved to the front, to the back. And of course you got your glove box. It is dampened but not felt lined, so you may hear some rattling from things inside. I'm gonna be honest, just looking at this guy, the ID light that comes across the screen up here, very cool to see. And then when we're just rolling around, it is quiet. Now I've heard a lot of people say that driving this thing around is an attention getter. So I'm gonna see how much attention I get when I get on this bad boy, especially as I go down the road. Now, just looking out, and you guys should be able to see what I'm seeing to a certain point of view, of course. The good thing about the Buzz is the fact that it does give you some idea of what Volkswagen has when it comes to an idea of what's going to make a lot of sense. The newer vehicles, the ID.7 when it comes out, the updated ID.4, that's something that a lot of people don't realize. There's a updated ID.4 that's right around the corner. That's going to be very unique to see what they do with that. Is it just going to be a refresh on the outside, or are they going to add new tech? Now, they've already went to this exact same system in the ID.4, but I think the version is slightly off. But what are they going to do next? Because they got to get something that's going to keep it competitive against all these other competitors. The key with this vehicle, the ID Buzz doesn't really have any competitors other than maybe the Kia EV9. And the EV9 is just what it is, right? It is just a 3-row SUV. This is a 3-row bus, right? An EV bus. There's nothing else on the market like it. The closest thing that you would say that's an EV of some sort would be either a Chrysler minivan or a Toyota Sienna. And those are hybrids. Those aren't full EVs. So in this scenario, there's really no other competition. That's a good thing and a bad thing. This particular vehicle, though, I will tell you, it just feels good. It feels rides really soft, really quiet. I have on the standard settings here. I don't have anything crazy. Now the problem is going to be turning out of this area, because it's always hard to judge what's coming from this other angle. But the turning radius on this guy is excellent. And that's another good thing about when you drive something like an ID4 or a rear-wheel drive, you know, Q4 or Q6 or the ID Buzz. They all have very, very good turning radius. And when you start looking at some of these vehicles, they just stand out as being very unique. And like I said, just driving this thing around, you're gonna get people looking at it. They're gonna say, what is that? Oh, that's cool. Yes, the range sucks, to be honest. It's not as good of a range as I would love to have seen. If this vehicle had 300-mile range and 200 kilowatts charging, I think it would even sell even better. The problem, though, is sitting at 234. Realistically, you might be sitting close to that 250-ish mile range on, you know, mixed driving. But when you drive on the interstate, you're going to get closer to about 180 to 195 on a consistent road trip. Which means you're going to have more frequent stops, which is good and bad, right? If you got a family of 4 and you guys are traveling this thing, you're going to be comfortable. You're going to have plenty of leg room for people to kind of stretch out and go to sleep in the back. And, you know, it just feels like a car that's well built. Now, for an individual who's maybe a delivery driver, this could be a great delivery driving vehicle around town. You know, somebody who does Uber, this could be an excellent Uber car. Not to mention when people love seeing you pull up in it, but it's a good ride quality, you know. And that's I think something that stands out, is having something that has a really good ride quality for something like Uber or somebody who does frequent deliveries. Now I'm getting back on this messy interstate. I'm gonna see what happens when I hit the pedal here. Okay, not bad. It gives you a little bit of thrust. Still nowhere near like the power that you really would want to have in this kind of scenario. But overall, it's pretty cool. The mirrors are kind of funny because they're stubby. They look big, but they're really stubby little cylindrical mirrors that kind of make sense. It really does make sense, because you don't want something that's outlandishly too big, because it's going to take down on your efficiency when it comes to the drive and the ride quality and range that you're going to get on the EV side. But when it comes to performance, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. The original microbus, I mean, it was one of the slowest things ever. And I can honestly say, I've had people say, everybody head turning, and I'm just riding down this road, as people pass me, they're looking. They're like, what is that? Or, man, that's cool, you know? Or, that's ugly. It's one of those three things. It's cool, it's ugly, I want one, or hell no. You know, one of those things that people are saying. I do like this a lot. I'm not sure about the white steering wheel. I don't know how well that's going to hold up over time. The infotainment system is much better than it used to be with the ID4. So with the new version of it, I think it's working well. And it does, I think it's going to stand the test of time. I do believe that Volkswagen does need to make sure they stand to their promise and give you over-the-air updates with this system to make sure it continuously gets better and not stagnate. That's one of my biggest fears, is that companies that are really struggling right now selling EVs are going to back down and back off of keeping those EVs up to date with current software and making sure they get really good functionality and features off of it. Overall, I think the car is an outstanding vehicle. Is it for me though? No. If I was a Uber driver or a delivery driver of some sort, I would 100% consider getting something like this for around the town, because I think that's where this thing is going to be its best fit, is around the town driving. I'm not going to throw out the soccer mom thing, but if you are a parent and you have kids and you take them to different after school events and they got friends, this is a great hauler for hauling friends back and forth to events. And I think that, like I said, that's the sweet spot for a car like this, not necessarily to be a across the country, across the state traveler consistently. Can you do it? Absolutely. But is it for everybody? No.